Hi, I'm Breandax,
And I'm T.
and we're going to listen to some music.
Have you heard one Porter Robinson?
I have heard of Porter Robinson, and again, only because I know you like Porter Robinson and saw them live in Sydney.
In Sydney, yes, that's right.
But that's all I know.
Yeah, so I'm actually...
Single person, not a band this time.
Yes, Porter
Unlike
Robinson
other
is a
names we've had in the past.
Porter Robinson is a very like aesthetically pleasing name and like phonetically pleasing. It sounds like a brand.
Yeah.
It sounds like a children's clothing brand.
Well, I was going to say leather goods.
Oh yeah, that works too. Oh well, no, because Porter Yoshida is a Japanese leather goods brand.
Oh.
The reason why I want to show him to you, is because I'm also a new fan of Porter Robinson as of about a year ago.
Okay.
So I knew of Porter Robinson as a pretty prominent kind of EDM artist when EDM was on the rise in like 2010s.
Yep.
I never listened to EDM really as a kid, teen, early adult. So it completely kind of was not on my radar at all. But Porter Robinson very recently released an album called Smile, which got a lot of buzz, and a lot of the crowds that I kind of live in musically were quite excited for it.
Okay.
And I was like, this Porter Robinson person, I haven't heard of them in a while, and also
People who like music that you like have been rating this, so maybe you will like it as well.
yeah, I was intrigued. So I did a bit of research. I found that, he's actually, as a kid and as a teen and all of that, he was nostalgic for a lot of the same things that I was nostalgic about. Video game music, modern kind of pop rock kind of stuff. And he's made a project kind of a little bit in homage to that. So I checked it out, really liked it. Went back through Porter Robinson's discography, listened to his album before this one, that maybe we'll cover it at another point, very fundamentally like almost life-changing album for me, at least in the way that I think about music and artistic expression. And then I went a little bit further back and then I kind of hit a wall because there was EDM and I wasn't really into the EDM.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm excited to show you Smile by Porter Robinson, because I think you've mentioned a couple of times that you also have a little bit of a fondness for that kind of 2000s pop rock, a little bit of cheese, kind of movie soundtrack songs. It's definitely a time that a lot of people like in our age bracket think on fondly.
I'd say so.
Yeah, rose-tinted glasses and all that, but let's capture the joy at the very least. We have the first song in the album Smile called Knock Yourself Out XD. And by the way, it's smile exclamation point colon capital D to make a little smiley happy emoji. Some acoustic guitar going on in the background. Okay, so that's a very kind of instant way to start an album, I would say, in terms of like right into it.
Yeah.
Right into the energy, first second in. It's a very single, like popular, built to be popular and danceable song. And I like that we get into it as the first track because it sets the tone for where we're going in the album. Very much that bubbly, video gamey, like chibi kind of pop rock instrumentation.
I thought it was such a great introduction. Like I don't really know what his sound is like, and it does sound like he's gone through like a transition between earlier work to what he has been working, like producing now. But this, it just sets me in such like a positive mindset. It did make me feel very nostalgic for a couple of reasons. One, obviously the direct reference to like game sounds. when all you could fit on a cart, you could only fit so much onto a little cartridge that's stuck into the back of your Game Boy. But also, secondly, I think the way that he used like the instrument mix with guitars in there, electric guitars. There's a bit of an acoustic guitar, I think, in the background there as well. Drums, that 4/4 beat. It gave me a little bit of that peak early 2010s. The game sounds being like those like very singular tones, kind of timbre. For a moment, just a brief moment, reminded me of like Owl City.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. So he's
Fireflies,
mentioned,
for example.
he's mentioned Owl City was one of the
Oh,
artists that
really?
he was kind of channeling.
Okay, I
parts
think
of
he
this album.
channeled it really well. Like, I think the rest of the song then like had its own identity to it. But that, yeah, it was just,
Yeah.
it's just very happy. It's very positive vibes all around.
Owl City are one of those artists that I honestly, and like kudos to them for being successful and all of that, I really don't like Owl City. I just like viscerally, I don't like it.
Okay.
But
But you like this song?
I do like the time capsule that is Owl City. And I like the way that we're using that here.
Okay.
Maybe it's a bias thing, I think, for me, because I think I probably just heard Owl City for the first time when I was not in a good spot to be like receptive to it. Porter Robinson is obviously a electronic artist, or has been an electronic artist, using digital audio workstations, plugins, and all of that. He learned guitar-ish right before he started making this album. So this is him being a beginner guitarist, playing with like putting guitar in his songs.
That's so cool.
And like, yeah, taking some of the inspiration from the artists that he grew up with and like using their instrumentation in certain ways and learning songs and stuff like that. So I think there's a fun little lightness to it. And then what I like about this song, just having sat with it, is it's a very, like you mentioned, like positive, happy kind of vibe, but also it's a bit of meta commentary on fame and basking in fame and like overdosing on the positivity of fame to the point where you come off as cocky. And I don't think there's like necessarily a very deep reflection on that, but I get the sense that it's fairly tongue-in-cheek. That he's looking at the kind of fame, hyper-growth, social media culture that a lot of our modern celebrities were born in, at least their career was born in. And he's kind of like, I've felt a bit of that too. So let me just kind of magnify that for this song. Cool. Well, let's go from here to track number 2, Cheerleader. So it would be pretty obvious that Knock Yourself Out is one of the lead singles for this album. Cheerleader is arguably the more popular one.
Ah, cool.
I can tell you're acting your heart the type. Wish you don't know where you're living. It's not fair. It's not your fault you're living in a madhouse. 'Cause if you're not mine, I'd rather. 'Cause I know you like the back of my hands. Yeah, you got everything that I don't even know what she does now. My cheerleader. 'Cause I know you like the.
What a great track.
We've still got the energy. This is probably my favorite track on the album.
Okay, and you said it was probably the #1 performing single as well. So
Yeah,
many people's favorite track.
I remember watching, once again, Porter Robinson live earlier this year. So the music video for this song has prominently featured like people in like cheerleader costumes with like big bobbleheads on, and they're like hunting down Porter Robinson, trying to get him to like be theirs.
Yeah.
When he played this live, there were people in cheerleader costumes in the crowd, like jumping up and like, and they threw the bobbleheads into the crowd, which as like big balloons and stuff, and they were like bouncing around.
That's cool.
It was a whole thing. There's a whole like culture around this song as well. Yeah.
I see the. Okay, right. Speaking about cheerleader, I don't know if this is right.
Okay.
Cheerleader with a little c, like someone who's like cheering you on. And just thinking about what you're saying, how the first song was talking about like fame and sort of center around like being overly confident and cocky and things like that. I'm like, well, maybe this is still on the fame route, and maybe the cheerleaders are like his supporters. Like cheerleaders, another way of saying like your mom's your greatest cheerleader, like so your fans, you know. And then I feel like some of the verses then made more sense to me if I looked at it that way, but I might be off base with that.
So yeah, having listened to it a bunch of times and just like sitting with it and just kind of understanding where Porter's coming from and where he's kind of like revealed certain things in interviews.
Right.
This for me is very much like a song about fan infatuation.
Yeah.
To the point where sometimes, I forget what the term is, when you've got someone who's a fan of yours and there's a disconnect, like you're online or something, or you're a celebrity that's not, you know, directly interacting with them, but they feel like they have a relationship with you.
Yeah, I
There's a
know what
term
you're
for it, but I'm
describing.
forgetting
I
what it
can't think of the
is.
term either. Yeah.
Yeah, so I think it's a bit of a commentary on the way that some like fandoms can both go a little too far, but also acknowledging that they contribute to your success.
Yeah.
And so there's a little bit of a symbiotic kind of toxic yet helpful relationship there.
Yeah. Especially here in verse, okay, cool. In verse 1,
Yeah.
clearly describing a fan that has gone too obsessed.
Yeah.
Where she don't know where to draw the line. And then the pre-chorus then says, thought she needed me, but actually I needed her, you know, for the fame and to be popular.
There's one line that I think is very clever, especially in a modern context, and that's she's got hearts in her eyes. Oh, it might have been right there.
That's that's verse 1. She's got heart in her eyes and she draws me kissing other guys.
So I think that's very vivid commentary on ship culture, because Porter Robinson is pretty happily married in like a heterosexual relationship. And I think there's also a bit of commentary in here about the fan going crazy when I can't be hers, when I express that I'm with someone.
This is a very real thing. It's like, I don't know if it's still a current policy, but like a lot of K-pop idols, for example, aren't allowed to have relationships, or even boy bands in general. I think One Direction was in this situation as well,
Not
but they
surprised.
couldn't have relationships because so many of the fans daydream / fantasize about like being with them, or and the shipping nature, like a bit of like BL vibes as well, like that they would get romantic with and fall in love with like another guy that they follow and they love as well.
Yeah, especially because Porter Robinson's quite popular among like communities that watch a lot of like anime, play a lot of video games.
Yeah, that would be very relevant then. The other thought that I had as well was like, when he was doing EDM stuff, was he vocalizing on those tracks as well?
No, he's very new to singing.
Okay, because when I think about say like being a pop singer, even through different eras of what pop music has become, and especially if you want to have like this sort of like this as a male singer, this kind of like pop band, boy band kind of sound, you not only need to be able to sing in that, they tend to have higher voice, like tenor voices, but have this timbre that has this like youthfulness, and you can imagine them being like high school crush, cute college jock, or cute college boy, whatever type of boy that is.
We
for
call
you.
them twinks.
If that is what is your crush, you know, and have that youthful energy about it, and just being able to sing high doesn't necessarily portray that energy, but he does.
Yeah. It's got a very kind of youthful kind of delivery. Cool. Well, let's go from Cheerleader to another song that I really enjoy called
Russian Roulette.
Russian Roulette. He loves a clear synth melody.
It's me, smiling Russian roulette. You. Then I close my eyes, trying not to smile. YouTube preview, fun on my head.
There's the reverse whoosh.
Trying not to smile. I wanna see, I wanna lose my phone. I wanna
Coming to a close. That's the format we're. It only became taboo because it was too powerful.
This was the song that won me over to Porter Robinson.
Mm.
Because before this, I was like, he's got some earworms. They're clever. But this gave me a level of connection and like empathy
Mhm.
that was pretty profound. Like, especially because it's like a modern song from someone who grew up in a similar era to me, who experienced in some ways similar things, but also the nods to like the meta musical commentary. This is why we use certain chords. That little like robot voice bit at the end. First listen, I thought it was cheesy, but as I read the lyrics, I was like, he's using this so intentionally, and it's so novel. And then, yeah, what'd you think?
I was not I would actually call this a ballad,
Yeah,
you know, and I wasn't expecting a ballad so early on in an album, but I really welcomed it. You know, I think continuing on from what he's been exploring in the earlier songs surrounding like, you know, fame and what comes with that. This is now, I guess, like very much reflecting on a space that's a bit closer to him now, people that's more closely to him
Yeah.
rather than like fans who have that distance.
it's still
in
the
their
context.
relationship.
Still the context of
Still in the
fame.
context of fame.
Yeah.
And also how like that can be, yeah, there's the positive and the negatives to that. Because it was ballady, I felt it was quite moving.
Yeah.
Especially in the third verse. It's such a the outro makes all of this like breaking the fourth wall commentary on like musical composition, right, and musical devices. Verse 3, having that stripped back mantra type section
Yeah.
is very, even though it's super stripped back and like pulled down, pulling down makes you feel the emotions go deeper.
Yeah.
And the repetition helps actually build energy, even though the music is quite thin at this point.
Yeah.
It's a classic technique in evangelical music, which I've only been in a band once, and it's when I used to go to church. And we would, all of these songs.
It's time to bring the band back together.
I know. But it's very, very powerful. Another example is I would say Coldplay ballads. And they get
reference.
entire stadiums just like chanting together, and that feels so unifying and so powerful. And then it's just an all-out like dance party.
It's the EDM like
afterwards.
outro.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, I really like in that verse 3, the stripped back verse with the listicle kind of moment. I think it works really well in contrast to tracks 1 and 2, Knock Yourself Out and Cheerleader, where we're talking about the grandiosity of fame and we're talking about the struggles and tribulations and the good things sometimes. Here, like we mentioned, there was a line about the awkward situation where your best friend is maybe also your employee. Their well-being and their monetary income relies on your career. And that's kind of a bit of an awkward dynamic. But then all of that grandiosity about fame, we go to the breakdown where he's talking about the things that keep him going. And they're very, you might say mundane by comparison. You know, I want to kiss my cat one more time. I want to drop my phone one more time or lose my phone one more time. Like those things that are very grounding.
Well, I guess it's saying that, you know, despite all of the heights that you might achieve through fame and from an outside perspective, they seem like super cool and wonderful. It's actually these like everyday things, which actually is what he finds beautiful and true joy.
And it would be remiss of me to not mention this. There's a lyric about a monkey pissing in his own mouth on YouTube.
Yeah.
That's a reference to Pitchfork, the musical outlet. They're a music like review magazine type news site.
Okay.
They did a review of a certain song or a certain album, and all they wrote in the review, all they did was they linked a YouTube video of a monkey pissing in its own mouth as the review. And because it was so bad. And I just thought it was a funny in-joke because I didn't know about that. And I'm like, oh, I'm a music nerd. And then I looked into it and I was like, oh, Porter's like connected to all this stuff. He sees what's going on. He's just like me,
he
for
lives in
real.
the same world as you. He's just like you.
Maybe I'm
He's
a cheerleader.
just one of us.
Maybe I'm a cheerleader. All right, let's go to Perfect Pinterest Garden, track 4.
Yeah, 'cause you got in the way. I know you so much. I got your name on my sweater and your life in my hand. Let's go out. You said I couldn't let hold on, darling. Perfect Pinterest garden. Maybe we should both make real friends. Somebody's gotta say the things I'm trying.
Sticking to the theme of fame, but from like a connection perspective is kind of what I get from it. Feeling like you're connecting with someone when you've like bought their merch, when you get an interaction with them that makes it feel a little bit like they're your friend. I've got your name on my sweater and your life in my hands. I know you so much better. Do you understand?
I think it just really tackles head on what that phrase that we couldn't think of earlier about how the fan base has an intimate relationship and knowledge of the artist, but the artist doesn't have that in return. And how also in maybe less genuine less genuine, but also, I mean, at the end of the day, a lot of performing artists they're a business.
Yeah.
They're there for commercial success. That it is transactional. And I really like how sort of it just really tackles that straight on. I don't care if you buy it, I just want you to pay. And then that progresses to, I don't care if you pay, I just need you to pretend. And maybe that's now starting to criticize of like, it starts off with the artist, not as a person, but as an entity, as a business, being like, we're putting out a product because we want to make money.
Yeah.
But then the artist as the person is then like, actually, I actually don't really care about the money. I really just want connection. And maybe that's what I'm craving when I stop and think about it after all of these things. Do you think that this album is him expressing what he's still processing himself and coming to grips with? Or do you think he's like in a different state and this is almost like a
reflection,
retrospect? Yeah.
No, I think I get the sense that he's still actively trying to process it because, and we'll see as we go on, there's still a lot of active questioning. There's still a lot of exploration on a topic without really a conclusion. So I get the sense that he's still in that. Because again, this is probably a new phase in his career. He's had a long-ish career, but for a lot of it, like I don't know how connected EDM artists are to the personalities that make the music versus the pop and rock kind of meta is very much kind of more tightly knit in terms of interaction and identity with your preferred artist.
Your product is not just your music, your product is also the persona as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. All right, well, let's get on to the next one, Year of the Cup.
How can you say it's a beautiful thing?
This is an interview with Lil Wayne.
When people drink alcohol, picked up a guitar, learned how to play it, learned how to put on the auto-tunes and stretch my...
I swore not to care about a guy who probably liked me, and that night
So people, fuck you, and whoever was in my cup sucked my dick, I'm gonna keep.
something's in the air like vanilla. Screaming at my audience works and can't go to sleep cause my mind keeps fuck you don't deserve me to gnash my teeth right in front of you. Hate this version of me that was sent to find some perfect apology.
That was an interesting track for me on my first listen because I got a bit of whiplash from the like little spoken word like interview segment, and I was so confused because I had no idea what it was from. Um, but yeah, I mentioned it early in the song, but it's from a snippet of an interview with Lil Wayne, and I don't remember what the context was. But an artist that you probably would never associate with Porter Robinson at all, like ever. But some of the stuff that was in that snippet kind of works in the context of what we've talked about so far in the album. What really contributes to our success, how much of it is manufactured versus how much of it is luck versus how much of it is, just passion.
I thought the snippet was really powerful in what Lil Wayne was describing in his analogy, right? So what I understood from there is, I don't know what you do, but what you do is, that must be magic.
Yeah.
And Lil Wayne is saying, you don't know actually what it takes for me to do the thing that I do. And he's alluding to the fact that some of the things that people need to do, and you think about super famous artists, and now we start to learn a bit more about their backstory, about like, say, Britney Spears, for example. There are interviews of Michael Jackson, who loved creating music, loved dancing and things like that, hated touring. Touring absolutely drained his soul.
Yeah.
And then there's all these things that you do to keep yourself going because you are more than yourself. You are now this entity. Maybe you're contractually obligated, maybe through court orders, you have to do what people are telling you to do, say in Britney's case. So then that's where there's a lot of like, say, drug abuse, or there's a lot of like other substance abuse. And so from an outside picture, you don't know what's in this cup that I need to drink to keep myself going.
Yeah.
You can say that what I actually do and produce is beautiful, but don't say like, oh, your process must be so magical. You know, you don't really have a right to say that. And that's what I was getting from Lil Wayne's analogy. It's the most raw vocals that we've received so far, and that made it incredibly intimate and also vulnerable, especially in context of the other tracks that we've heard so far.
This track references a fan interaction that Porter had, I think, earlier on in his career, where I think he lashed out at a fan and he responded by trying to do the whole like apology tour, like, I'm sorry I'm like this, I think was one of the lines in the song.
Yeah, no, I remember that because I remember thinking like, oh, this is a reference to actually homophobia.
So the way that I read it was completely different. The way that I read it, so the probably liked me part was, I think he had something that he perceived as negative feedback from a fan.
And the fan
probably liked him.
Yeah, and was just giving some, God, queer lens.
There is Porter Robinson, Peter Griffin, Yowie out there, by the way.
Say that again?
Porter Robinson, Peter Griffin.
The character.
The family
guy.
Okay. Porter Robinson, ex Peter Griffin fan art. Anyway.
That's what she was drawing.
Yeah, she was.
Who was kissing Porter in that song. When Porter was in his EDM, doing his EDM stuff, do you know what size of concerts he was doing? Like what kind of...
Festivals and stadiums.
Okay. Because what was occurring to me during that song, and I guess what's starting to, a thought that's been coming together the more that I'm listening to this album is like, I would have expected EDM music, festivals, stadiums, very large. But I would think a medium-sized venue is what would be more fitting for an album like this.
Okay, so let's go from Year of the Cup. Let's go to Kitsune Maison Freestyle. Do you know Maison Kitsune? Have you heard of it before?
No, I know what Maison means, being house, and I know Kitsune is like the Japanese fox spirit that shift changes. I'm saying the same thing twice. Shape shifts.
Yeah. I think it's also just the word for fox in Japanese, no?
Oh,
I mean, the spirit would be called the same thing as well,
Oh.
right? Yeah, I think it was like not quite luxury, but like one tier below luxury. And I think it's risen to luxury. Quite popular among like younger people and like the like internet kind of age people.
okay.
So I'm not like a fashion person really, but I knew about Maison Kitsune before hearing this song, and I was like, what a random like reference. But as the song kind of goes on, you kind of understand why it's referenced. As you kind of look into it, you get the sense that there's a bit of shame behind that and behind like, and this kind of gets touched on in the little spoken word towards the end. We're covering ourselves up with items to make ourselves feel good. And then the reflection that Porter has is like captured in an anecdote where he fixes his teeth, but then he feels bad that he doesn't have the teeth that his mother gave him.
It's actually a very cute song, right? You know, the instrumentation's really cute. I love the liberal use of, again, that the game sound aesthetic. I think by using Kitsune Maison as the reference to fashion and potentially like fast fashion or fashion cycles, but then if you actually like read the lyrics, like, oh, this is actually criticizing that fast fashion culture and how we think that needing to get towards a certain aesthetic or something is going to make us happy, when really it removes maybe our individuality, and then that actually can make you feel
There's
something.
a line that's like, all of y'all look like each other as well, that really kind of vividly paints that. Okay, next one is Easier to Love You, track 7. There's a ballad on this album, aside from the earlier one, it's this song.
You're gonna make a scene, comparing yourself to the person you were at age 7. I look like someone I don't recognize. Yourself like me, dear future me. I promise I can't shake the feeling that I'll be happy, but it would be so much easier. Please be disappointed, obvious.
Like a banjo or mandolin in there.
It hurt much less when you were alone.
Was there a feed on that song?
I think there was a writing credit, but I don't think there was a feature.
With the double octave above vocals at the
I think
end?
there was just his own vocal pitched up.
Oh, okay.
I think that might have, so I'm getting into the content of the song, that might have been representing the dialogue back from the younger self to the older self.
Oh, cool. All right. I'm on the right track
Yeah.
then. I'm like, oh, love song.
No.
I want you to
Well,
love
kind
me.
of.
And then as the song went on, I was like, I think, especially from the chorus, I think by the time we got to the second chorus, I'm like, I think this is an older self, maybe present day self, who's wizened up to all of the things that we've been exploring in the previous tracks. And this is actually him singing to his younger self. Like, I wish you could realize all these things, realize that these things maybe aren't as important as you think they are. And then once you go through that process, you'll actually like come to love yourself and love life a lot more. Dear future me, I'll promise I'll take care of the person we'll both eventually. To me, I saw that as when he was younger, he knew that the thing, to some degree, maybe he realized that he was not looking after himself in the pursuit of fame and building up his music career. And it's like, don't worry. It's like, I'll get to the things that actually make us happy eventually, like painting, like going to the gym and looking after myself and my health. And maybe I'll be happy by the time I get older.
I'm also enjoying just throughout the album, slower tracks, faster tracks, all of that. We keep coming back to a very fuzzy lead synth that carries a very kind of prominent melody through certain songs. And I like that, you know, one, the synth is not clinical, it's quite fuzzy, it's quite distorted, and it almost sounds like a bit rough around the edges in that it kind of warbles up and down in pitch very slightly. So it sounds a little bit untamed against the backdrop of like a pretty tightly put together song.
Maybe that's also expressing, you know, a lot of these things that he's been exploring in the lyrics is that there's a pursuit for perfection, but actually it's not in that is where happiness lies. And so the synth is maybe then a little bit imperfect. It's also interesting where he made, was it this? I think it was the previous song or something that occurred to me, but I didn't mention it. He refers to cliches for the second time. The first time that we heard cliches was
Russian
the
roulette,
first, that's
the
it.
robot voice.
Yeah, the robot voice, where it was like, cliches are beautiful because they're a reflection of us and we are beautiful. And reflection of us being imperfect as humans. And so maybe there's this, his thesis is that it is in our individuality as people, it is in our imperfection that actually where happiness and beauty lies.
Very profound.
It does sound
It
very
almost makes you
profound.
smile, capital D. All right. Speaking of smiling, next track is Mona Lisa. This is Porter Robinson featuring Frost Children, or in collaboration with Frost Children. There's the imperfect synth again.
I like the way you look around me. You're all I wanna see. It's just so sweet.
I think this is Frost Children.
I know you do it for Mona Lisa. Everything is anything, you're everything to me. Am I just one more face through the door? What's it all for? I'm taking you home to Mona Lisa.
If we're in rock territory, this is probably the heaviest of the songs in terms of like, we got a pretty aggressive breakdown and we got some like almost trading into kind of scream territory and some of the like really impassioned vocals there.
Bit angsty.
The angst. He was channeling definitely the slightly more kind of emo side of whatever the pop rock kind of media zeitgeist was at the time.
And any minute I will wait for him to do more. I think he could explore that more and people would enjoy it.
I think he's having fun with it as well, which is like most of the reason why I think he's pretty likely to keep it going.
Absolutely.
I thought this was clever in that like I don't get a very like profound message from this song necessarily. Like you could certainly view it through a few different lenses, but I like how we're talking in a few ways about the attachment to the inanimate. We're using the Mona Lisa as like the example. So I wonder if you could extend that to like, you know, engagement with a product or something. But like, I love the way you do your makeup. Like no one cares. Mona Lisa does not do her makeup. Like she is made this way. And like a lot of different examples like that, but it's still being portrayed as like a confession of like, you know, I love you in this way. Like you would send a love letter, you know?
Like Mona Lisa was being a metaphor for what we were exploring in the earlier tracks about an artist being a product.
Yeah.
And I felt like there was a lot of parallels in some of these analogies that he was doing. You know, Mona Lisa is like a super famous painting. People queue up to see it from afar. I think there was a lyric in there like, and what do you do at a big concert? You know, you're queuing up, and then you know at some of these music concerts as well. Not so much in Australia because we're not that big, but in the States or in Europe, it's like
the queue is almost an event in itself.
And even when you're in the mosh pit, it's like you're like how many brackets of mosh pits back or something like that, and you can't even see the stage or anything like that. But yeah, I think it's coming back to that phrase that we cannot think of, where it's a one-way direction. and the fans are like loving this like ultimately inanimate object, and would do all these things because of their obsession with it. Mona Lisa's got that. I mean, I've never seen it in real life, but because of the way it's painted, apparently, like a lot of people say that it looks like the eyes follow you when you walk around the room.
And there's like that almost smile kind of like expression that people are very intrigued by as well.
And the reference to like everyone's staring at you, and you're just there for them to consume.
I found the word, by the way. It's parasocial relationship.
Oh,
I was just grasping in the back of my mind trying to find it.
What did you search to find that term?
So I searched this initially, and this didn't help me. Word
for
for one-way
relationship.
They gave me unrequited.
Okay.
And then I did online, and then it gave me parasocial.
Okay.
You gotta add the online factor.
And for what it's worth, that was just using a search engine, not AI, to try and decipher fancy things out. So
we still have control, folks.
Good.
The people are winning.
Keyword SEO.
I also really like how through a lot of these tracks, we're like really treading on cliche in terms of sound and song structure in a few different areas, like pop rock, kind of ballady pop kind of stuff. But the actual subject matter, when you dig into it, is often mocking or reflecting on the negative side of the cliche subject matter that we would usually hear in a song like that. Whereas, like in the Mona Lisa song, you might get an impassioned love ballad about someone, but here it's like a crazy rambling about an inanimate object. And I think it's fun at the very least. Okay, so we're getting into the final stretch here. Next up, we have Is There Really No Happiness? Ooh.
I remember the family PC, they're like a joke, I swear that I wrote. I want it to be wrong when it's over and done. Happiness without you near me. Well, maybe it's my fault, 'cause I'm so nostalgic. Happiness without this feeling.
You know, Porter, some people die of nostalgia.
This song was like on repeat for me for like an entire week when I was going through a very particular phase like a year ago. And I don't think it's a phase. I think it's something that just recurs every now and then. You latch on to a nostalgic moment, a nostalgic feeling, a movie you watched, a place you lived, a game you played, a friend you had, or whatever. And you remember the rose-tinted happiness you had at that point in time, and you just keep dwelling on it. Like, oh, maybe I can recreate it. Maybe I can buy the thing that I had when I was a kid. Maybe if I blah, 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 do X, Y, and Z thing to get myself closer to that, I'll feel better. And it just becomes like such a going down the rabbit hole, like to quote the song Chasing the Dragon thing. And eventually, hopefully, you come out of it and you kind of realize that, like, you know, you got to make memories in the present to like actually get some of that feeling back. You know, you can't chase the past necessarily, but it's a fundamental part of growing up and like being young versus being older and reflecting on happiness. I like how in Porter's songs, he's not necessarily talking down to us or like giving us his observations. He's kind of taking us through his thoughts in effect.
Some things are better left remembered. How does that help me? And I think I'm just thinking in context of a lot of the tracks on this album where he's sacrificed a lot in pursuit for the fame, sacrificed a lot, filled that cup with whatever, who knows what, in order to produce the product. He's done a lot of these first experiences just like everyone else, but maybe because of he wasn't living in the moment, and he was so, you know, caught up with everything else, he didn't get to really actually experience it the first time. So he doesn't. It's not the same. It's not like, oh, I want to go back and relive my first time. It's like I want to go back and actually live the
Yeah.
first time and sit in that moment and properly experience it. What made me sort of think this was, by the time we got to the second verse, I was just trying to think about, like, with the chorus, I want it to be wrong when it's over and done. Is there really no happiness without this feeling? I'm like, well, what was he trying to say with that? And it's like, well, if you don't have the feeling when you're experiencing something, then there isn't happiness. And you can look back on it and be like, I remember doing that, like in verse 1, like a joke I swear that I wrote, knowing I'd remember it accurately. Like, he did all the things, but he didn't experience them.
Yeah, like quite often when we have like nostalgic thoughts, nostalgic memories, if we were to take ourselves back to that moment and how we actually experienced that moment, we would probably be dissatisfied with the way that we actually engaged with it. It's just the kind of thought that we have sometimes feels better than what it actually was. And there's like, a yearning to re-engage with it or to go back and, I guess in your interpretation, redo it. But it's also quite toxic because that is physically impossible. You're better off making more of those like actual, like realized memories in the present. But it's easier said than done. All right, so we're on to the last one. Next track is Everything to Me.
Then it's over. It's you. Nothing else in the room. Softly, it's you. And all of you. This seems like it's everything to me. If this is good, eating on a corner with your phone. Brush me like a plushie, I'll be one and say I love you. I don't know the air in between. This seems like it's everything to me.
What a beautiful track.
It's a warm ending, but it doesn't leave anything that we kind of mentioned earlier in the album unaddressed. I think it's pretty encompassing. I get the sense that because Porter ends on this song, the net experience that he's reflecting on carries a level of positivity that kind of supersedes the negative aspects, like as a whole. I really like how it's an ode to the fans.
That despite everything that we explored in the album, after all it's said and done, he shares how much his fans mean to him. And I think he did it in a very poetic, sweet way.
Yeah.
You said like he's been in the game for a long
So
time.
he says in this song,
I think he references that at the beginning.
you've been with me like half my long life. He
Mm.
got started when he was in his teens in like EDM. I think he has an anecdote about him playing venues that he's not old enough to get into as
He was underage.
as a regular patron.
Right.
So, you know, the fans, at least some of them who've carried through the whole journey, have been there half his life, if not more.
It's You and Me. And after listening enough to this album, I realized that anything that sembled a relationship was referring to the fans rather than like a love
The
interest.
fans or Mona Lisa.
No, Porter is Mona Lisa.
He is Mona Lisa, yes, that's true.
It's You and Me, and the air in between, all of me and all of you, nothing else in the room, which to me just really painted like a live performance scenario. It references again the parasocial relationship dynamic.
We can't ignore it. It is there.
You don't know me, but you know me.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say I love you. I don't know your name, but I say it anyway. But I just say it anyway because it feels the same.
Yeah. And even the part about crush me like a plushie, I'll be one of your things, sounds to me almost like he's tongue-in-cheek kind of reconciling with that more attached fan and just kind of saying, you know, if I need to be one of your things, if I need to be that plushie for you,
I'll be happy to make this product for you.
yeah. Or I'll be this product for you. If I'm the image that you need to hold on to, feel better. It is parasocial. We've explored it through this album, but net, if it helps you.
I think actually that is being symbiotic because he's
yeah?
saying like previous tracks explored how like Cheerleader, for example, where it was the fan obsession was detrimental. It was not healthy. Here he's saying like maybe he's accepting, okay, I'm happy, like I accept to be, this product that you obsess over, crush me like a plushie, I'll be one of your things symbiotically, and maybe I'm addicted to the look in your eyes. Maybe the value he gets is that obsession or that adoration.
Yeah. Yeah, every time we get like a negative mention of that fan to artist experience, I feel like we also do get an acknowledgement throughout the album that there is a reverse and there is a artist feeding off the fan attention to keep going and to continue feeling fulfilled.
In the beginning of the bridge, what do you think he was saying there? If this is goodbye, if I won't see you again, waiting on a corner with your phone in hand, if irony is a virtue, maybe I should be king. Having just heard smile exclamation mark colon D,
Yes.
I think is how it's pronounced
Yes.
in the local language.
Yes.
Tell
us what it's-
Porter
what it's-
Robinson.
Tell us what it's pronounced like in German or in French, perhaps, or
I'm not
Cantonese,
multilingual.
or- Yep.
Do you think that's a reference to this album? Because some parts of this album have been quite harsh critiques of that fandom relationship with an artist.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if that was kind of meta referencing the album itself. Obviously, phone in hand, listening to the album, reading the article, watching the video, also very common thing to be doing and way to be engaging with your artist, even if they've said goodbye, maybe on stage or whatever.
Well, I thought goodbye because it was quite confronting critiques, being like, oh, I don't like you anymore.
Oh, yeah.
You kind of just offended me. I was your fan. I've supported you so much.
Well, having just heard Smile, I think it's a very fun kind of journey while still doing two things that I enjoy. One, giving us a perspective into the artist's life while not trying to talk down to the audience or overly trying to garner sympathy, because I've seen both happen. And I've seen artists try both angles and it come off kind of not very authentic. I get an authenticity there from Porter, but I also get a fun exploration into musical styles from the early 2000s, from the late 90s, from the 2010s, and just kind of nodding back to them, kind of like getting a little bit nerdy about them throughout the tracks. I think both of those in this album are explored in a very kind of fun, engaging, but not super heavy way.
Now learning just how long his career has been, and the type of successes that he's enjoyed in his career, and I can probably make a couple of assumptions also around like, working in an EDM genre and music festival scenes and things like that, like exposure to lifestyle and things like that, and just potential experiences that he's had throughout his career. This album feels very heartfelt and very reflective. I think it also, you said it's been an opportunity for him to also explore a different part of his musicality, and so it's been both an exploration creatively, but also an exploration of self. And as fans to the artist, where the artist is an entity that is a product, he has shared that of himself for us to consume. And hopefully we will be the best cheerleaders that we can be.
Responsible cheerleaders, ethical cheerleaders.
Yeah, moving forward.
All right. Well, that's been Porter Robinson's Smile, and we have been Just Heard. Engage with us. Please become our cheerleaders. We'll release the commentary when it becomes too much, but for now it's fine. We will catch you on the flip side. See ya.